Second round, everything gets doubled, ladies and gentlemen. A great take gives you 400 points. A good take gives you 200 points. No K take gives you 100. And a bad take, you come home empty-handed again. 0 points. Let's move on to women's college basketball, where arguably the greatest women's player ever, by the name of Caitlin Clark from the University of Iowa, broke the all-time men's and women's scoring record, surpassing a 54-year mark set by the late great pistol Pete Maravich at LSU. She did so at the free throw line, hitting her 18th point in a game that was more watched than Wemby's rookie debut, which is pretty unbelievable. Over 3.1 million tuned in to see Iowa, number 6 Iowa versus number 2 Ohio State. We talk about her ability to shoot from long range. She is the Steph Curry of women's college basketball, really of women's basketball, with respect to people like Sabrina Ionescu, and sure to go number 1 overall by the Indiana Fever. Although we do have to pay respect to Pistol Pete, because he did that without, in 3 years and one less year than Caitlin, with no three-pointers, which is kind of mind-boggling. You know, when you talk about that level of dominance, Caitlin's special in her own right. So I will start with you, Barry. You were sort of teasing the group chat something you're about to come out with, so we will see. Among men's and women's players, because there's obviously been plenty of both greats, where does Caitlin Clark rank all time?
She's not even in the top 10. Listen, we have to stop. All right. I understand recency bias. We have to stop it. Okay. Caitlin Clark, as good as she is, she's fly. She's very good. She's awesome. Right. But we're talking about the greatest college players of all time. We're talking about Lou Alcindor. We're talking about Elvin Hayes. We're talking about what's my man name? Lucas. We're talking about Christian Leitner. Hold on, I gotta listen. Hold on, I came prepared. Hold on, we go ahead and pull this up. Pistol Pete Maravich that you just passed. Bill Russell, Bill Walton, who went to UCLA, right? Oscar Robertson, Cincinnati, 3-time Player of the Year. Elvin Hayes in Houston. Jerry Lucas, National Player of the Year, 2-time Player of the Year. Christian Leitner, Jordan, USC. Tyler Hansborough at UNC is one of the greatest college players of all time. He wasn't a good pro, but we're talking about college here. Magic, Bird, Tim Duncan. So are you literally giving me all of those players and she's better than all of those guys? And those are 12 I just named. That's just 12. And there's more. I don't have Wilt Chamberlain in there. I don't have a whole bunch of other guys in there. And if you want to put her in the Mount Rushmore of all-time women's players, she's definitely in the top 3. She's up there with Candace Parker. She's up there with Diana Taurasi, right? But we have to like think about all the greats that came before her. The scoring record is great, but Shamiqua Holslaw was really, really good in college women's basketball too, and she won championships, right? UConn girls won. Like, these things matter. I get the scoring record. But come on now, we're talking about the pantheon of college basketball players. She's good, but we got to stop with the recency bias. We really do.
I'll tell you this, men's or women's, I don't think it is humanly possible to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I just don't. His college record
he has the greatest basketball career ever.
Yeah,
ever.
But he did have the greatest career, better than Michael and better than LeBron.
We're talking about like the high school, college, and NBA ever.
No question about it. And his college resume might be the most impressive. I mean, the 3 years, it's crazy at UCLA. Yeah. I mean, listen. By the way, I think you're forgetting Maya Moore. Maya Moore.
Listen, there's a lot that I didn't even name. Respect to everybody, but come on now.
Not top 10 is rough. But you know what? You came with your stats, you came with your numbers. So a good take for Barry Grant Jr. He was out here talking the group chat like he's going to get the first bad take in 8 o'clock spy history. And I was waiting for her to say she's not in the top 100. I was like, oh god.
Nah, listen, I give her top 15, but there's been a lot of great players, man. Like, we got a scoring record is cool, but come on now, there's a lot.
Though, right?
There's a lot of players out there that got some buckets, man. I'm just saying.
Okay, I'm just saying it's big when LeBron does it. It's cool.
Not even LeBron. If LeBron wasn't, I have to be truthful. There's too many great college players that came along and was putting up buckets. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, that's fair. To you, Alfred, where does Caitlin Clark rank amongst the greatest college basketball players, men's or women's, all time?
Amongst women's college basketball players, I would say she's definitely a top 10. But I can't rank her amongst the men. And also, I'm not trying to downplay her accomplishments, but I'm not really all that impressed that she broke the record, because think about this. how many of those NCAA players are actually ready to go to the WNBA? Look at the quality of the competition she's facing. Also, look at the box scores of the teams that she's played. The competition doesn't add up to her if you really look at it. So that's number one. Number two, if she had done this in the WNBA and became the WNBA all-time leading scorer, okay, I will give her all the respect in the world. But in the NCAA, they're amateur student athletes. She's playing against other amateur student athletes. The competition level, as we all know, is much more higher in the pros because they're the best players in the world as opposed to college. You look at all these college barn burners that came down the line. Adam Morrison from Gonzaga cried on national TV when they lost in the Final Four. He was projected to be the next Larry Bird. He goes to the NBA. He rides the end of the Lakers bench to 2 rings and never saw the court in the finals. You got Christian Laettner, who was who at Duke was the number one hated college basketball player at the time, and was supposed to be like another great player. He goes on to have a lengthy career as a journeyman, a role player. So, like, what are we really saying here? That this is the NCAA record? Yeah, breaking college all-time records is cool, but if her game doesn't translate to the pros, will we even remember that she did this? So that's my opinion. We've seen a lot of people, men and women, kill in high school. They killed it in college. They get to the pros, they fall flat. They don't even make an all-star team once in their careers. So while I equate this to being the big fish in the little pond. So while it's impressive on that level, I'm not ready to rank her higher than the likes of Bill Russell and Kareem, or Lou Alcindor, aka Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Pete Maravich, and all these people. So I'm not trying to downplay Caitlin Clark, but next.
Yeah, sure. Listen, first of all, her game's going to translate to the next level. You could shoot the ball like that. You can play at any level. It doesn't matter what. Like, when I hear, Steph Curry when it translated the 80s, it's like, man, stop it. You can shoot like that. You can translate.
She's going to be tough in the league. She's going to be tough in the league.
Yeah. Listen, she's not going to be the best player immediately when she comes in the league, but give her 2 years, if that. It's going to be quick. But yeah, I mean, I would also sort of come back at that when you're talking about, Christian Laettner. Again, all of these all-time greats. I don't want to downplay anybody, but were they not also playing against student athlete amateurs? Like, I mean, like you could say that about anybody going the next level. I mean, you can make that same case, but yeah, I mean, I think overall when you talk about Caitlin Clark's record, it's not the WNBA all-time scoring record, which is currently held by the great Diana Taurasi, but it's certainly not. It's not irrelevant. I think you're downplaying a little too much. But nevertheless, do we have the right here? Okay. Take by Alfred. I'll give you the 100 points, get you to 300 points to tie you with Barry Grant Jr. at the top of the list. Tim Barnard, finally with you. Where does Caitlin Clark rank among all-time men's and women's college basketball players in history?
So I'm with these two. She's not in the top 10. I mean, I don't like how we have to compare men and women. We have to say that they're in the exact same field, the entire time. Because again, it has been male student athletes, yes, while still amateurs, and plenty of guys who didn't make it in the NBA, never even came close to going to the NBA, versus female amateurs that Caitlin Clark had to go against. I'm sorry, it is 2 very different fields, with the men and the women. And it's great. Like, good for her. She broke an amazing record held by Pistol Pete, but that doesn't mean jack when it comes to comparing her to, male college basketball players. I mean, just to add on to Barry's list, you have Fly Slamma Jamma, with in Houston. Patrick Ewing in Georgetown, Jordan. Right. I mean, listen, Jordan at UNC. It's still, but Ralph Sampson is the name that never gets mentioned.
That's Virginia. What I'm saying. I could have went on.
You could have went on, absolutely. And so it's just the idea that we have to sit here and always, especially now more than ever. And I don't want to get into that field because that's a whole different show we can discuss this in. But to have to say that men and women are equal is just ludicrous to me. Can we please just have the women's college basketball grades and the male college basketball grades, keep them completely separate? And Caitlin Clark, in my opinion, from female, number 1, no 2 ways about it. She is arguably the best women's college basketball player to ever play the game, and I think she'll be just fine in the WNBA. That is a no-brainer. But to sit here and say that all these other to sit here and say that she's in the top 10 with men, no, absolutely not.
I don't know if we're necessarily talking about ability though, because like I know the conversation again, like you said, totally different discussion. But like Serena Williams wouldn't be one of the top. Her peak wouldn't have been one of the top 70 players, but relative to what she accomplished against other women, her resume is insane. Now Caitlin Clark does not have Serena Williams' resume, but I think if you put the two fields together and you talk about what they accomplished in their respective fields, it's almost impossible to not have Serena in the top 2 or 3. I mean, her resume is nuts. I think a similar case could be made for Caitlin Clark in women's college basketball. That's not to, again, I want to reemphasize this. This is not to downplay Ralph Sampson, like you mentioned, highly underrated player. She's absolutely a better college player than MJ. Stop. MJ had made one shot. Cool. Nice for him. He was maybe the greatest basketball player ever at the NBA. Solid player in college. Okay. Solid. He was. Come on now. But I think in terms of, again, accomplishments, I hear y'all about the top 10, but I think that the fact that it's like, oh my gosh, she can't even be considered. Again, you talk about her resume she's averaging 32 a game. And by the way, it isn't like, with all due respect to people like Lou Alcindor, his competition, and I think he's the best college player ever. I don't think he'll ever be surpassed. Competition he played?
With all due respect though, Bryson, she has the greenest of lights I have ever seen at the college level. The greenest of lights. There's girls that the coach just give it to Caitlin. Don't worry about it. Just give it. That's what we're looking at here. Come on now.
John Wooden would have never
had that green light though.
Right.
John Wooden never did that for Lou Alcindor.
Dean Smith would have been like, listen, you're not scoring no more than about 16 points. You need to relax. Relax.
I'm saying if you have the ability to do it, and by the way, let's be real, Iowa, not that great without her. Like she's kind of a LeBron effort.
Obviously.
I get it.
Yeah. For sure. I'll give Tim an okay take because he did sort of save himself at the end with in regards to her. I don't know even know if she's the greatest women's player in college ever. Again, I still think I hold Maya Moore in the utmost regard in the women's field. I think her resume is insane at UConn.
For me.
Even in the WNBA, she was just incredible. Stepped away due to obviously a much greater cause, but an okay take by Tim.